Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer and welcome to your daily silver stacking video. Thank you for tuning in, and ladies and gentlemen, we have an interesting video today. This could affect the price of silver. This could affect the price of precious metals. We're talking about photovoltaics, PV cells, which is used in solar panels, how they are learning to cut back the amount of silver needed in these solar panels. We're going to look at how this could affect the price of silver negatively. Will it affect the price of silver negatively? And what this means. This is why you cannot be blindly investing. You have to be subscribed. You have to stay up to date on a day-to-day basis. And I'll do that. I'll give you the newest, latest, freshest, most up-to-date recent information in the world of precious metals. I do that every single day. Plus, we talk about a lot of other stuff besides just supply and demand. We talk about prices. We talk about it all over here on the Silver Slayer channel. Plus, I'm doing a huge 50,000 subscriber giveaway you don't want to miss. So also click the bell so you don't miss any of the entry videos or any of these videos. So yeah, let's jump into this. The link to these two articles will be in the description. Now, I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and he was mentioning how China's learning to use other things besides just silver to produce solar panels. This is a global thing. The Green New Deal isn't just in the United States. Solar panels, this whole solar revolution is global. Now, we know that silver is already scarce. We know that a huge side of the demand factor moving forwards is solar panels. So if they look to cut back the amount of silver needed, will this affect the price? Now, I don't think it will as much as some people are saying. Me and my friend, when we were talking yesterday, he was even mentioning, I don't think it's going to affect the price that much either. But to be completely honest, what could affect the price more is just the speculation alone, just people hearing this story. And that's the scary part. That's why I hate that S word, which is in the silver world more and more every day, which is speculation. Now, we're going to look at these two articles. We're going to break this stuff down. We're going to dissect it like you know I always do in my videos. Context matters. We're going to deep dive this stuff, and let's do that right now. So, solar-driven silver demand set to dim as sector innovates. Then we have a second article that we're going to be talking about, which is from PV Magazine, titled, Amount of Silver Needed in Solar Cells to be More Than Halved by 2028, Silver Institute says. Now, it could actually get a lot, it could get a lot more extreme than just halved. We're advancing into a new technological era, a new digital age, and every single day they're learning to make things more efficient. They're learning to innovate. And in their eyes, they have to. We always talk about the silver shortage. We know silver's scarce. We've seen the numbers from the Silver Institute themselves. We've looked at all that. We know that. It's not a theory, it's a fact. But we always stop thinking at the part where we make money, the part where silver explodes. But have you ever thought about after that? What's going to happen when they don't have enough silver to make solar panels? What's going to happen when they don't have enough silver to make the newest, latest Tesla? What's going to happen when they don't have enough silver to make 5G towers or the newest, latest iPhone? Because that day and age is coming. Silver is becoming more scarce, harder to find, and the demand is rising. Yes, that pushes the price up, but have you ever thought about after that? So they're going to have to, because they're going to get the silver from somewhere, whether they ban silver like they did in 1980 when they needed it, whether they learn how to space mine with that asteroid that's headed towards Earth that is filled with precious metals, whether they learn how to mine in the ground better, innovate that. They're going to find it somehow, some way, and they have to. So this is going to be interesting to look at, especially looking forwards. But at the end of the day, silver is the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity, electricity, even light sensitivity. Nothing will ever replace silver, especially when we're looking at all of its uses, not even just solar panels. So yeah, let's just jump into that. I wanted to give a little bit of context, a little bit of an introduction, just to let people know, what's really going on, and if this is something to really be freaked out about, which is no. So silver demand from the solar sector looks set to wane as manufacturers continue to find ways to use less of the highly conductive but relatively expensive metal in their solar cells, according to experts. Out of 2024, we see volume drifting lower, said Philip Newman, a founding partner of research group Metals Focus, which produced a silver supply and demand report for the Silver Institute in April, which I've covered. Likewise, consultancy CRU Group said it expects silver demand from the solar sector to start falling in 2020 after years of relatively uninterrupted growth. We forecast a slow decline in silver demand from 2020 to 2030 as photovoltaic or PV capacity added per year dips, while attempts at silver thrifting in PV panels continues at a diminished rate. And that's going to be interesting to look at if they start learning to recycle solar panel or the silver in solar panels. Because if we're talking about this at a global scale, they have to learn how to. I don't see silver demand dropping, especially since we're looking at, in the next 10, 20, 30 years, so many things besides just solar panels needing silver. Now, maybe in the solar panel industry itself, demand could drop, but I don't see that happening by last year. It definitely hasn't, and I don't see that happening in the next couple of years either. I do want to see when this article was written, though, in September 2020. So, yeah, it definitely hasn't happened yet. And this is just, remember, guys, this is just from the photovoltaic industry, just from solar panels. 5G still booming. Electric vehicles booming even bigger. Every automobile company by the year 2030 is going to be electric. Every single day you hear more companies. Volvo was the latest that I've heard. But that's a fact. And not only just from the industrial sector, the investment sector. People like you and I, look at Wall Street Silver. They already have hundreds of thousands of members, and they just started in January. We have so many people, so many different types of ways that silver is being demanded. And so this one thing alone will not affect it, but at a global scale, demand is still going to be incredibly high. I mean, you can't just push away that fact. And silver is typically laid down on the solar cell in what are called fingers, helping to deliver harvested energy. Amid growing installations of solar power, silver has benefited massively. In the early 2000s, silver demand from the solar sector barely registered, making up less than 1% of silver demand. In 2019, the photovoltaic sector accounted for 10%, and that's compromising 98 million ounces within total demand of 991 million ounces, according to Metals Focus data. And that's a year, right? We need nearly 1 billion ounces of silver a year. So here's a chart. Silver demand from 2011 to 2020, and this is in millions of ounces. So the light gray is photovoltaics, the dark blue is industry or industrial, and the orange is other, which is mostly like 5G towers. Even investment demand could be in here. Electric vehicles, silver lithium ion batteries, right? Silver is used for a lot of stuff. So if we're looking at just the photovoltaic sector alone, you can see that it's not going to push too much of an effect on it. And you got to remember, this is just the demand side. The demand is still at nearly 1 billion ounces, but the supply is diminishing. That's the part we forget. You could look at this chart and say, whoa, it's down. But if you look at this supply side, that's the scary part. Demand is always going to be up around 1 billion ounces, but the production for the last 7 years has been getting cut back, and especially over the last couple of years since this situation we're in, Mexico and Peru, the top producing countries, accumulating nearly 40% of the global silver production got hurt bad from this situation, quote unquote. So yeah, supply cannot meet the demand, which does shoot the price up. But looking forwards, it's harder and harder to find silver, and demand is not likely going to stop, just like the use of silver in photovoltaics is not likely to stop. But analysts expect industry innovation to continue to lower silver content per cell, outstripping demand from new solar installations. CRU Group estimated that each solar cell used an average 111 milligrams of silver per cell in 2019, decreasing from 521 milligrams per cell in 2009. So there's something else to mention as well. Just because this is dropping demand, there's going to be new things that need silver as well. We are advancing into a new digital age. Think of a sci-fi movie in the future, flying cars, buildings that have all these skyscrapers and electronics. That's all going to require silver. It's not like we're just going to stop here and silver is only going to be needed for these things alone. No, more innovations are going to be made. More things are going to need silver. More demand is going to, be needed, but the supply is the hardest part to keep up with, which is the main part we need, because the supply is what's going to be making all these things. So innovation in screen printing processes in which silver containing pastes are applied to solar cells and strips is one of the key areas where manufacturers have squeezed out silver, and the trend has yet to reach a limit, according to industry experts. So they're saying that the research group expects the industry to be able to halve its use of silver per cell over the coming decade, reducing it down to 50 milligrams when it was at 521. So looking at the longer term silver demand, this is to fluctuate between 70 to 80 million ounces per year between 2024 and 2030, as the rate of silver thrifting slows further and PV capacity additions slightly increase. Now, is 70 or 80 million ounces per year enough to really affect the supply and demand factor of silver? No. Newman similarly said that while the silver boom from solar sector may have peaked for now, the industry will remain a key player. It's still an incredibly high volume for one application, and that's what I'm talking about. Even though they are cutting back, we're talking about a global scale. The Green New Deal is just starting. It's not like this is over and we're just at a standstill. This is just starting. So even though they might be reducing it, it's still just starting, and that even if it's at 50 milligrams per cell, that's still a lot of silver that we're going to be needing over the next couple of decades. So, meanwhile, Clement noted that silver will be extremely difficult to replace, at least in the types of solar cells that have to come to dominate the market. Copper is cheaper and more abundant, and might seem like an obvious choice to swap out for silver, but there are technical hurdles to using it cost effectively in cell manufacturing process. Silver is easy to use in screen printing, Clement said, while copper typically requires more costly processes to apply, including different atmospheric conditions and curing methods, among other factors that drive up costs. If you look at the mass production at the moment, silver is for sure the material you have to use. The trend now in cell manufacturing is to make them with more closely spaced smaller fingers using less silver that in turn connect to more closely spaced wires on the cell, or bus bars, Clement said. A bus bar is a metallic strip or bar used to distribute local high current electricity. And I remember reading a comment. Someone asked, isn't copper the most highly conductive metal? And no, it's silver. Silver is the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity, electricity, and light sensitivity. That's why it's used in mirrors, cameras, right? All that. Nothing is as conductive as silver. Nothing. So here's an assumptions thing where they do like a Q&A. And if you guys want to read on to that, you can. I'll link this in the description. But I'm trying to keep this video at a timely manner, especially since we haven't even hit the second article, which is just as important. And actually, this is from the Silver Institute, or a lot of this information is, which I call the holy grail of information, which is probably even more important than the first article. So, the U.S.-based Industry Association finds the amount of silver loading may fall from 130 milligrams per cell in 2016 to approximately 65 milligrams by 2028. So see, it is very similar. They said they can get it down to 50 milligrams, and they are saying that we could approximately see 65 milligrams by 2028. Alternative and cheaper raw materials such as copper and aluminum are not expected to replace silver in commercial cell production, at least in the next decade, right? So these two articles definitely have similar data, which is good to at least see. Now, when we're looking at this chart, you can see it's for the next, 10 years. We're looking at starting in 2017 to 2030. We're seeing the blue is the automotive electrical, which is going to gradually go up. The light blue is solar, which looks like by 2024 is still gradually going to go up, and that's from the Green New Deal. And this is growth in silver demand. So as the last article was kind of saying, we're at a standstill, we'll need less and less silver, this chart's showing starting in 2023, we're going to need more and more silver. We're going to need 140 million ounces by 2030. And that's looking forwards by 2030. Look at the automobile sector, which is going to need nearly 70 million ounces. So what I'm trying to show is this might seem like we'll need less silver and it won't be a shortage anymore, but that is far from the truth. So, CRU predicts module efficiency may rise around 25% by 2030, which would result in a 24% reduction in the number of panels needed. So, let's see if they... So this is important right here. According to a report published by the Silver Institute in April, global industrial demand for silver grew 4% from 5,768 million ounces in 2016 to 5,990 million ounces last year. This spurt was mainly due to the record growth of the PV industry, which published demand for silver as a component of silver paste for solar cells from 79 million ounces in 2016 to 94 million ounces in 2017, year-on-year growth around 19%. And this is demand growing, but supply is not growing, right? And that's why we're seeing scarcity. That's why the U.S. Mint is announcing the silver shortage. That's why it is harder to find silver. That's why the premiums of silver coins are rising, right? I mean, this isn't new news. Gold, there's no premium on gold coins because gold isn't scarce. Gold isn't needed for this stuff. We're talking about silver here. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. What do you think about this? Let me know. Let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you think that cutting back the production, or the demand at least, for solar panels will affect the price? I'm curious what you think, especially moving forwards. I don't see how this could affect the price too dramatically. Like I said, if it was going to affect the price, the main thing that would affect it is just people hearing this story and maybe investing or changing their strategy based off the theorizing, the speculation alone. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Make sure you click subscribe if you want a chance to win some silver, and click subscribe if you like silver or love silver or want to hear daily information that I'm going to be giving you. You cannot be blindly investing. And if you've stuck around this long in the video, pat yourself on the back. Most people clicked off this video within 2 or 3 minutes thinking they know it all, thinking they know everything. They're closed-minded. But if you stuck around this long, It shows a lot about your character. You wanted to soak up every single piece of information, and that just shows a lot about your character. Probably applies to other areas of your life, and I can definitely guarantee your stacking strategy is going to be a lot more successful than someone who thinks they know it all, the smartest guy in the room, that had probably after 1 minute commented on this video saying something negative, right? It's just all I mean, seriously, that's how it goes. So yeah, I appreciate you. Kudos to you. I love you all. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.